We're back. I've been thinking about you all week, actually the last couple of weeks. A few weeks ago, we tried to post a little segment on Ordinances Ready and sharing with the temple. So we're going to do that this time. But I had an experience a few weeks ago where I had a sister that came in to visit at the library, and we were talking, and I talked about how I really didn't learn how to listen to the Spirit until I started doing family history. I didn't really recognize it. It wasn't really a big presence, I didn't think, in my life. And I questioned, was it myself or was it the Spirit? And she said, I had the same thing until I got involved in this. I really didn't understand the Spirit. She said, I feel like this is the language training mission, the language of the Spirit, that as you get involved in this gathering, that you learn how to listen to the Spirit. And I thought, you are so right. I have been tutored and taught as I've done this work, and also as I have been in the temple. And so I was reading the other day, I was reading this book by Wendy Ulrich about living up to our privileges. And she writes this to women. It's Women, Power, and Priesthood. It applies to everyone. But I love this quote from Elder Richard G. Scott. He says, he reminds us that this spiritual power is learned through experience and struggle, and that it will become easier as we consistently strive to recognize and follow feelings prompted by the Spirit. And that's something that I've experienced as I've been doing this work, is that I will have a thought, and then as I act on that thought, then I see a result. Sometimes it's immediate, or sometimes it's a few clicks down the road, and all of a sudden I find what I'm looking for. And Tia's talked a lot about that, about praying for that name and following through on that. The more that we do that, the easier it becomes. He says, Elder Scott says, I witness that as you gain experience and success in being guided by the Spirit, your confidence in the impressions you feel can become more certain than your dependence on what you see or hear. Elder Scott goes on to say, spirituality yields two fruits. The first is inspiration to know what to do. The second is power, or the capacity to do it. So if right now you're feeling a little overwhelmed, like, how do I do this? This is a lot. I've got a busy life. I don't know how I can fit this in. Let's revisit what we talked about a few weeks ago. Just start simple. Start with your phone. Just touch that family tree app every day, or get on the FamilySearch app online and just attach one source. And if you're like, I don't know how to do sources, we will cover that in a little more depth in a future episode. And if you will let us know that that's what you need to know how to understand how to attach these sources, let us know, because I've gone through and read, and I'm going to be addressing those questions that people have. Some of those will be covered today, and some will be in a future episode. So I want to share the screen right now. Let's see. And let's see if it will, let me do it. Still trying to get this all figured out. All right, share screen. I think you're going to see my whole recording screen. Well, we're just going to let you see the screen for a minute while I flip to the share screen, allow, and here we go. All right, so here we are on the main page of FamilySearch. I just want to go over a few things that are really important. This FamilySearch icon up here in the top left corner, that always gets you back to this main screen. If you get lost, you can do that. Another thing that's very helpful that most people don't realize is you can click on Family Tree and go down to Recents, and it will take you to the most recent people that you've worked on. And it will show you and then all of the other people that you've worked on. And if you notice here, it says public person up here. This is people that were within a group. We will be talking about family groups and how you can use those to share names with family or share pictures, those kind of things as well. But these are all public people. You can make people private if you want to work on them without anybody, like this one right here. It's my husband. So he's listed as private. Let's go back to the main page. And we're going to, up here at the top is Ordinances Ready. That's the next thing I'd like to talk a little bit about. You can do that on your phone. We talked about that a few weeks ago, or you can do it right here on the main page. You just click Select Ordinance, and this is the easiest way to do family history. Some people, that's all they have time to do, and you are a great blessing if you're doing that. And I will show you how, if you feel like you can do a little more, the next step. So you can choose an ordinance. So this week I actually am going to do sealings. So I will choose sealing to parents, and it will search my reservations. So it's important to understand the order that it goes in. First, it searches for reservations that you've made. Then it will search for reservations that you've shared with a family group. Then it will search for reservations that have been shared with the temple. Then it goes to your ward. Then it goes to your stake. Then it goes to the rest of the church. And I may have missed one or two in between. I think there's like a total of 7 as these layers go out. But it will always start with what you've reserved first that it will pull. And so then you can go down here and you can see that this one is Ethel Barkus, and she's my 9th cousin 3 times removed. And if I click on this, I can see exactly how she's related to me. So it goes back to this, it looks like maybe a Norwegian family. And if I go back, then I can learn a little bit more about her. And this is, I already printed these ordinances. Do you want to reprint again? So this is one that may be in my temple bag. I'm not sure, but I can say yes, and then I'll just double check, and I can rip the other one up. So then this one just says, learn a little bit about Christina. It does not say that I'm related. So it may have come from somebody else that had shared it. Maybe it's my husband that shared it, although I think that it will share how they're related if it was my husband. So this, takes me to the About page for her, and it'll give me a little history about where she's living. I would highly recommend reading that before you go to the temple, so you have a little bit more connection with that person. I can learn a little bit. If there was a timeline, she doesn't have a timeline. She doesn't have any sources. The sources helped create that timeline. So I'm going to go back. You can see we've got, here's my husband's 14th cousin, Alma, large daughter. My husband's 7th cousin. I'm trying to see if I got any from anybody else. Sometimes it will say, I've heard from people in my ward, they'll say, oh, I got one of your names. So that shows that it pulled from my shared with the temple. So that's how you can go to that. And you're actually here. Sorry, I'm going to make you dizzy. Then you'll just click take to the temple. So I'll click take to temple. And then it allows me to say continue, and I can print straight from my computer. Now, if I just wanted the QR code, it's super simple to do it from my phone the same way. And you can revisit episode 2, I believe it is. But I'll say continue. And then it gives me all of the cards. And then I can I'm on a Mac, but you can do Control P or Command P. And I make sure that this is my printer. Always make sure that your double-sided is off. And I've got 4 pages of sealings. And so I'm going to say print, and it's off to my printer. So then when I'm done, I'll close that out and I say yes, that it printed, and I'm on my way. So that's Ordinances Ready. Let's talk a little bit about, and you can schedule a temple appointment for the temple right there if you'd like. I usually just do it from my phone, but when you go to your temple, you'll click on this and you have my reservations, family groups, shared with temple, completed. And you can also access Ordinances Ready here. This family name assist is an awesome tool for new converts. We will go over that another day. And right here, you can schedule temple. When you come in, somebody asked the question, I've got so many reserved, how can I share them? So the easy way to share them is you click on either this box and that selects everything, which I don't want to do, or I can go down and I can choose the ones that I want to share. So I want to share this endowment. It says it's printed. And I can't share it. Ordinances that were previously shared with the temple cannot be shared again. I grabbed this one, and somebody else had shared it with the temple. So I have to unshare it, or unreserve it. So I don't want to hold him up because my husband does all of his own endowments. He's finding family. And my kids do their own as well. So I'm just going to say unreserved for him. And that will send him back to the temple queue. Basically, I call it the fast pass. So I click unreserve and I will unreserve. So it says, make sure you printed these names, make sure that you get rid of them, rip them up so that it doesn't get duplicated. All right, so here we are in my reservations. I have 276. It will allow you to do up to 300. I really want to get more of these out of my system. And ideally, this is my recommendation. Have what you can do in 3 months. I'm not following my own suggestion, but that's my suggestion. That's my goal. I keep working on it. But do what you can do in 3 months. Now, if I was doing 10 initiatory every week, then I would get kind of close to this number, maybe half of that. But some of these I have saved because I do want to do them. And so they're sitting there because they are direct line ancestors to me. So my recommendation is if you've got too many in here and you want to share them with the temple, make sure that it does not say ordinances that were shared cannot be shared again. So let me scroll down. I have several of those actually on this page. Okay, let's go down here. So Sydney Shrimpton Stewart, he's been sitting here since 2017. This is what I was talking about. That's way too long. Poor Sydney has been sitting there waiting. And that, for me, that's unacceptable. I'm like, I should have been on this. But we can just repent and move on. So I'm going to click share and share with temple. Now you can do more than that. You can do up to 50 at a time and share them with the temple. So I'm going to say I'm sending both of those off to the temple and share with temple. So Sydney was somebody that my husband's grandmother, Emma, had been working on and had found that information. And obviously it kind of got lost to me. But if I wanted to do, let's go to the next page. If I go to page down here, I've got 4 pages reserved. If I go in here and let's say I want to share, I like to save the ceilings because I know that I can do those. Let me see if I've got, here's an endowment. I'm going to click this one and I can click this one. I can click all of these and share. Let's just go do, that one's printed. I don't want to take those ones. That one's printed. We're going to go down here. So here's several that I can share with the temple because they've been reserved since 2024. And I can just click all of those and it says I have 10 and share with temple. And they end up in the fast pass lane, ready to go. If I shared them with the temple and I said, wait a minute, I really want to do, I think I saw there was a Matson. So I can come over here to shared with temple. And I can I can type it up in here, Mats. And there it is, Anna Matt's daughter. I really want to do her endowment. So I click on this and I don't unreserve. Unreserve will send it back to the tree. And if it was somebody that you reserved and it happened to be a little bit off the beaten path, with the current policy, you would not be able to re-reserve it. So I would just say unshare, which would put it back in your reservations. So if you have any questions about the current policy, let me know and we'll talk about that. But I'm just going to say unshare. And if you notice before we go there, if you can see right here, it says 265 and this is 1,024. So if I click unshare with temple, this will go up to 266. It should. And let's go back to my reservations and it should change to 66 and it didn't do what I said it was going to do. I hope I didn't send her back into the tree. And so one of the ways that you can not lose a name like I just did, is you can come and click on this name right here. When you click on it, watch the right corner. It says ID copied. So it has copied that ID. I'll show you an example. If I click over here and I just paste, that ID is saved. So now you've got that copied just in case she does get lost. So that's how you can share with the temple. And I'm going to set a goal to go through this today and get all of the ones that have been shared for more than 2 years shared with the temple. So if I go to the last page, you can see that some of these are in 2025. So actually, I feel like I did pretty good about sharing some that were older. You can do filter. So if you click on filter and over here where it says sort, you can do it by date reserved. So here's 2018. This is actually my oldest. So I have unreserved, or I've shared with the temple the ones that were older. So this Inger, she's been waiting since 2018. I'm going to click on her father. He's waiting on his endowment. And the mother is completed. So if you're wondering, can I do this? Can I not? Actually, the church policy is that you can do a sealing before the parent's work is completed. So I've been waiting since 2018 to seal this little girl. Yawns, the father Yawns. Let's just take a look at him for a minute. If I click on him, let's see where his endowment is. Hopefully I don't have it. It says that it was shared with the temple in 2021. So this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, is that they are very, very backlogged on endowments. They know that, the male endowments especially. We know that there are a lot of temples being built, and the goal right now is to replenish the temple with names. That's the Family History Department's goal, is to replenish the temple with names. And so if you live in an area that's high density LDS, such as Utah, you have temples surrounding you, and you may have a lot of pioneer ancestry, so it may be very easy for you to find your family. You have to remember that as these temples are being built all over the world, there's some areas of the world where they do not have access to records, or they may not be able to go very far back. Those temples will depend greatly on your names that you have shared with the temple. So this is my suggestion to you. Work as diligently and as hard as you can, because these people are so anxious on the other side of the veil to have their work done. Share the names with the temple, and don't get too worried about them sitting there for a while, because as these temples open up, then it will open up the floodgates so that these names can be done. But they're closer now than they ever have been in decades or centuries, because you put them in that temple queue. So I hope that makes sense. So this Jans person, he's been shared with the temple. I can click view my relationship, and actually he's a relationship unknown at this point. He was probably off on the outer parts of my tree that now we are not able to do, because of the policy change back in December. Let me see if I can get back to where I was. I leave lots of tabs open because I have to come back. Last night I was up till after 11 working on this family that I'm so excited to tell you about. I cannot wait. This has to do with AI, and the big breakthrough. But we're going to go back one more time to temple, and we're going to go to my reservations. And if you want to pull a name back from the temple, just remember you go to shared with temple, and you'll click a box. So let's say I'm going to choose, see, those are all endowments I want shared. So I have a lot of endowments shared because I just can't get that many done. You can see I have 20 pages actually. So let's just you can type a number, and we'll go to page 10, and we'll see if there's anybody that I want to just pull back. I'm going to pull back Elizabeth Thomas. I did actually just share her, and I'm going to unshare. I'm going to copy her ID, and I'm going to unshare with the temple. So it should go back to my reservations. Usually it pops up as 260. Yes, there it did it. 266. So I don't know what happened with that other one. That was very, very strange, and I can take it back. So I just recommend getting them in the fast pass lane, which is share with temple. As you can see, this is what we're going to talk about next time, is family groups, group reservations. We will talk about how you can share your names with your family, and so that they can easily go in and choose somebody, especially if it's somebody that's close to you. If it's a grandmother or grandfather and you don't want to have to be printing off cards and mailing them, family groups is a great way to go. So my invitation to you this week is to go to your temple, go into your reservations, and if you have some that have been waiting for quite a while, share them with the temple. Or if you have more than what you can get done in the next 3 months, share those with the temple. You can always come back and pull them back. And then my next invitation to you is to go down to completed. So we're going to click on completed here. And I can see right here, and this was my inspiration last night. I actually was doing what I am asking you to do. I went to Ann Penry. And this is such a fun story. I cannot wait to share her story with you. It has to do with the podcast back in January that if you haven't listened to, it was episode 37 or 38. But that whole family, I think it was in episode 38, about our trip to Wales this last December. So I'm excited to share that with you. But I will come back to Anne, and this is my encouragement. Choose somebody on this completed list. Go back to them, and then you're going to look at this family and say, who is missing? So I see there's something that I need to fix here. I can see that there's something that needs to be fixed here, but I'm not going to focus on that right now. What I want to do is focus on her family right here. So I'm going to click on Tabitha, and I look at this, and it says Tabitha is actually shared with a group, and she needs her initiatory done. So I can work on that when I go to do initiatory next time. I can also, there's another way you can look at it. I like to go to the dad. Let's view tree. And I like to change it to descendancy view, because if I change it to descendancy, then I can see if any little green temples pop up, if there's any suggestions for me, or if there's any records. I don't see any records here, but I do see that Elizabeth has a green temple and Howell has a green temple. So I can click on Elizabeth and let's see what she needs. She needs all of her work done. Now let's just revisit what we talked about. Before you do the work, see if there is a source attached. We want to make sure that things are correct. And ideally, I would see if there is, if she lived past age 8. If at all possible, see if you can find a record that proves that they lived past 8. So Elizabeth doesn't have a source or a memory. So if you're a beginner, then I would say just move on until you find somebody that you can make sure has a source attached. For me, this would just be an invitation for me to do a little deeper digging to find a source. Let's check out Howell. And he also needs all his work done. And I actually remember my husband was working on this one this morning. So he just added Howell Powell, and he came from a will. So I could go in and attach that will, and then I'll feel much more comfortable that this work is moving forward. And he was mentioned in the will as an adult. And so then I know that he lived that old. So that's really a simple invitation to come back to Temple, go to your reservations, and also go to completed. Go to reservations and share with the Temple as many as you can, and then come back to completed and see if you can find somebody that's missing some work, or somebody in their family still needs their work done. I could come down here. Let me just go here to this Neona. I just found her the other day using the AI research assistant that we talked about last week, and I can see she needs sealing to parents. So it's probably been 30 seconds that I've been talking to you. I can come in here. I can come in, and it says request right here. So I'm in request, and it's going to put it into my reservations. Will it let me? Oh, it actually says there's some duplicates that I need to reserve. If there's duplicates, it will not allow you to reserve it until you resolve that. So now I know that's more work that I need to do. I will show you that if it did allow me, I click request, it will put it into my reservations, and all of this will then turn blue. Then you come up here to share, and you can click share ordinances with Temple and choose which ones you want to share. So hopefully that is clear and you understand that, and I hope that that helps you. I do want to go back to the main page. It's going to be a little longer than what I was hoping. I'm trying to keep these as concise as possible so that it's somewhat simple, so that you don't get overwhelmed, and it's something practical that you can use. Let's just look at this main page one more time. You can search for an ancestor right here just by typing their name in. Just remember, indexes are not perfect, and so if you don't find something, that doesn't mean it's not there. It just means it's probably not indexed. If you look right here, FamilySearch Labs, View Experiments, click on that and go and see what labs are. We will talk about some of those. One of those is the full text search, which is using AI, and we'll talk about how to maximize that in a future episode. I love this one, the to-do list. Let's say you're working on somebody. So this was somebody I was working on one day, and I had to stop. I had to either go eat lunch or go to bed. So I copied the ID and put it in here so I could click on it. And it's this Jonas Anderson Alberg. So I put this in here so I would come back and work on him. And I'm assuming that I probably put him in there because he's missing a spouse. So I will go back and look on that. I can also put a reminder, find the birth records for August and Frank. Those are my great uncles. Over here, this is the AI Research Assistant that we talked about. If you don't know what that is, go back last week and you can watch the video on that. Every time I've used this, I have had great success. Many times I have found a whole family. So this one says possible child, possible spouse. This is possible spouse and children. So it's taking all of the hard work out of doing searching for you. And then this will show me my recent views. Here's some temple hints. These are some record hints. This is what we talked about. You could come on this main page and attach one record right there. And then you can move on with your day. But you will have touched it and you will have gotten them one step closer to having work done or completing their family. This right here is free access to top sites. So if you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you have the ability to have free accounts with all of these because of the partnership that FamilySearch.org has with these companies. They share records, they work together, and that's one of the perks as a member of the church. And then down at the bottom, you have recent memories, so things that people have recently added. So you can look at pictures, you can look at newspaper articles. And then if you have the want to be able to help somebody, if you're a family history consultant, a member of a bishopric, or if you just want to help somebody in your family, you can click on this helper sign in. And you can get, if you'll have them give you their username and a helper number. And you may be wondering, where in the world do I get that? If you go up here to the top and you click on this and go to settings, and you can look at the profile, it will be under account, or it may be under permissions. Let me see. Yep, it's under here. So here is the helper number, and you would click on the pencil or the eyeball, I guess it is here, and you'll be able to see what the helper number is. And then the username is whatever the person's username is. And once they give that to you, then you're able to go back here on the main page and you're able to see their tree. You can help look for names for them to take to the temple. So it's really, really a great feature. The final thing I want to show you is the solutions gallery. Most people don't even look at any of these down here. Don't be afraid to click on any of these and we're going to click on solutions gallery. This is where you can get your free accounts for FamilySearch. So you can get a free ancestry, my heritage. Now remember, this is if you're a member of the church. Find my past, American ancestors, Geneanet, Philae, and Storied. And then they have a bunch of different apps that they recommend. So this is a great place to search. So I'm so excited for you this week to access your temple tab and to practice going to the completed people, share your names with the temple, and just remember that as you take time to be in this every day, you're inviting the Spirit to be with you. This is God's work. I testify of that you will feel His power, you will feel His peace, and it will be a place that you will feel drawn to be in more and more often. It will become less intimidating to you, and you can touch it in just a minute. And I guarantee you that God will honor your willingness to help and serve in this work. I just want to just wish you the best of luck. And I know that you'll have great miracles in your life. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.